What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten football channel. All right, we have shown you the 2020 schedule for the Michigan Wolverines. Now we take that schedule and we give you a projected record based on the schedule. And this projection is not a prediction. It's definitely not our official prediction, but it's just a projection based off of their odds to win each game. And we just kind of group teams together to do this based off of what each team has coming back and also just looking at recent history between the teams. So let's go to the scale now. 99% would be a game where Michigan is going to be favored by a lot. I mean, it's pretty much a guaranteed win. An 80% game will be a game where they're favored by, I think, double digits, a game that they should win. Not a guaranteed win, but a game that they should win. 60% is more like a game where they're favored by 6 or 7, maybe 8 points. And then you got your 50-50 games that could go either way. And we're talking about games where the spread is 5 or less. So those are games that I really, could see going either way. Let's go now to the green games. And I think Michigan should be favored pretty big, should be able to take care of business against Ball State and against Arkansas State. I think it would be a shock if Michigan were to lose one of these games. I know last year against Army they had the scare, but I just don't see them losing to Ball State or Arkansas State. So I think you got 2 wins right out of the gate there that you can count and say that Michigan will win. How about the 80% games that they, again, will be favored by double digits, games that they should be able to take care of business in? We got a couple of those. We've got Maryland and we've got Rutgers on the road. It would be very surprising, honestly, if Michigan lost to either of these two opponents. Maybe Maryland gets a lot better this year. I don't know. I mean, they've actually got some talent. They just did not put it together last year. Rutgers, they got a long ways to go. So Michigan should be able to roll in both of these games. And that means you'd have 4 games where Michigan should win. And based off of the method we're using, our projection will count all 4 of these games as wins. So they're at least going to go 4-8. But then there's a chance that they could lose some more of these games. All these games, really, 60% or less, you could lose all of these games, but they're not going to, obviously. So Michigan State on the road, I've got that one at 60%. It's a rivalry game. It's on the road. I know Michigan State probably going to be down a lot this year, but you just never know. So we've got Michigan favored, again, by about a touchdown. Purdue is a team that we don't know for sure what we're going to get. It could be closer to that blue range, that 80% range, but I'm expecting them to be better. The game's at home, though, so that makes me kind of want to go back towards the 80%, but we're going to go with 60%. And then Indiana's a team that brings a lot back this year, and they had a really good year last year. I think people kind of forget about them a little bit. That'll be a pretty tough challenge for Michigan. So we've got 3 games where they'll be favored, again, by roughly a touchdown. And then we have 1 game where they're going to be an underdog, a pretty big underdog. That's Ohio State. Will they be double-digit underdogs? I don't know, but I just went off of saying, going by recent history and saying that Michigan, they can't seem to beat Ohio State. And this year it's going to be on the road. Ohio State should be the better team. So, I mean, there's really no reason. There's no reason to think that Michigan will win this game. I would love to hear an argument if you've got one, but I just don't see any reason, any way that Michigan wins this game right now, looking at it in the preseason. So we're going to go ahead and count that as a loss, and that leaves 4 games on the schedule that could go either way. We've got Washington, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Minnesota, and I think all 4 of these games really could go either way. And if Michigan's able to win them and take care of business in the rest of their games, they could be undefeated when they play Ohio State. But I think that's going to be a tough challenge with all of these tough matchups. Washington on the road, both teams will have new quarterbacks this year. Tough place to play. One that I could really see going either way. I don't know which way Vegas will go on that game. Wisconsin, we'll see how they compare to last year's team. If they're as good as they were last year, they're probably going to be favored in that matchup. I think Penn State will be favored on the road at Michigan as well, but it will be a very small number. We're talking 2, 3, 4 points, something like that. Definitely a game that Michigan can win playing at home. And then Minnesota, I think, playing on the road, that'll be a close game. And I think the spread will be a field goal or less in that one as well. I don't even know which way I would lean in that game because I think Minnesota's going to be pretty good. So you've got 4 games that could go either way, and when you average all this out, the projection for Michigan comes out to be 8-4. What does that mean? Does that mean Michigan's not that good? Why? It means they have a tough schedule. It means that against this schedule, if the laws of average kind of play out, Michigan would only go 8-4. You give Michigan Clemson's schedule, their projection's probably 11-1. But with this schedule, which is a difficult schedule, a schedule that has maybe the top 2 teams in the West, and Wisconsin and Minnesota, almost impossible game to win, apparently, against Ohio State. A very tough non-conference game in Washington. This is a very difficult schedule, and it's one that is probably going to catch up to Michigan again. It's probably going to keep them out of the college football playoff discussion once again. This could be a really good team, but because of their schedule, I think it holds them back. And again, this is not a prediction, but the projection based off of the schedule is 8-4. I think that's maybe pretty accurate. I think they might do a little better than that, but 8-4 I think is definitely a possibility for Michigan with all that they lost on defense and the fact that they lose Shea Patterson, quarterback. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see this team go 8-4 in 2020. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below, and thank you for watching.